Hey, welcome to Hanging on Monday Nights. We do a quick little round table in the tradition of Monday nights. We have Buddy from Chicago, who's Irish by association.
No, my grandmother on my dad's side.
Okay. And then we have John and Jay, who are very Irish and very Boston.
Pope was Irish. Yeah, he was here.
Yeah. And I'm the mutt here. So it's St. Patrick's Day for those of you watching this on the 4th of July, 2027. Today is St. Patrick's Day 2025. So happy belated St. Patrick's Day 2025 to all of you. So I did a video yesterday in response to something John was talking to me about. He was talking about how there's a group of people out there suggesting that DJs over 50 should retire.
John, this John or John Young?
No, our John, our boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was talking about this.
Yeah, it popped up as a thing in the help desk. It's a pretty active thread, so I don't know if
I saw it.
Yeah. I didn't want to mess with it, but I kept seeing it over and over again, and it got me thinking about some of the DJs over 50 who may see this and get a bit of a complex about it. So I did a video on it and talked about it a little bit. And then I did another video today where I was trying to specifically address some of the challenges that us over 50 may face. And I was generally speaking about people people over 50, let's say, and some of the physical and emotional things that just happen to people over 50 that they need to overcome to continue doing this thing we do, DJing. And
Wussies. Sorry. So sorry.
I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about.
Did you see my comment, by the way?
Yeah, I did. And I replied to your comment, which you probably didn't see.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I did reply to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Jay's comment was, people tend to comment on the title of the video and they don't watch it. So they lose.
No, I watched the whole video.
Yes.
That's why I made the comment I made.
Right. Yeah, you're going to let all the superstar DJs, Tiesto and
they're all over 50.
Cox and let them
all over 50.
retire. And my reply to that was, well, somebody needs to tell them I'm glad you're taking the.
Yeah. No, somebody needs to tell them. I didn't know. Tiesto.
Right.
And, Danish Naglia, Jazzy
Jeff.
Jeff.
Does not get off. Yeah, just stop.
Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah.
Flash,
Derek May, Dave Morales.
All the day, yeah.
By the way, I personally called Cascade, and he's decided to retire. Because he didn't know that he was supposed to.
Right. Yeah,
Did you get the memo?
Over 50.
They got the memo from the.
So I thank you for doing the video, and therefore we can tear down most of the famous DJs that we know, because they're all over 50, idiots.
Yeah.
How old
So I was talking.
He's like 30-something.
He's young. Maybe 40 now. I was talking.
40. She retired too.
I'll check him.
I was talking to a local friend of mine today who's in his early 30s. And he was telling me how he really feels like he needs to get this 3,500 cargo van because he did the math. And he's carrying around 1,100 pounds worth of DJ equipment to every event that he does. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do the math on mine because I built a system suited for me and my physical limitations. I'm under 300 pounds with everything. That's mixer, that's cables, that's computers, speakers, pro vent table, even the cart. It's less than 300 pounds. And yeah, my situation is different than a lot of people's, but yeah, once you get to a certain age, maybe you don't want to pick up 90-pound speakers and pull them anymore.
No.
Maybe if you insist on doing this, yeah, you're going to force yourself into retirement. But if you can adjust a little bit, get some lighter weight equipment, take advantage of some of the great new technology that's out there, you can go lighter, and you're not making any compromises in quality or anything else. So there are things I feel like you can do to adjust, regardless of what happens to you after a certain age. So I thought maybe we could discuss that tonight. If there's anything that any of you are doing that let's just say you're older and wiser, and you're working smarter, not harder, in our glorious age of people of a certain age.
Refined gentlemen of a certain age.
Yes, or people.
I think you need to view what it is you want to do. In my head, I have a pretty good idea of what gear weighs, being in my position. And, I think my XZ in the case is like somewhere around high 50s.
Yeah.
Maybe 60 pounds. My speakers, the Evolve 50s, are probably 40 pounds maybe each.
Well, with the columns, yeah. I mean, the cool thing about the Evolve 50s, though, is, or any column speaker, you're not lifting that over your head. That's
absolutely
down kind of thing. Yeah.
I remember when Pulse called me and he said he bought new speakers, and I'm like, "What did you get?" He goes, "I got the QSC HPR 12s."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, what are those?" He goes, "They weigh 98 pounds," and I'm like, "What?" You're putting those on tripods? He's like, yeah, they sound amazing. And it was one of those instances of like, I'll give up the problem to get the, product. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, he's like 7 feet tall. So
no, he is. So it didn't matter
to put something. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I gave him your video where you put the speaker on the floor upside down, then you stick the tripod in, and then you flip it.
Walk it up. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. But 1,100 pounds at a gig, unless I brought trussing with weights, I know pretty much what every piece of Pioneer DJ gear weighs. Speakers, I don't think there's a speaker on the market today that weighs 100 pounds by itself.
Well, there are subwoofers that definitely.
Well, there are subs, but even if how many subs are we talking? 2 subs at $100 at 100 pounds a piece, that's 200. Like I question the 1,100. 1, 2. Yes, the industry has responded, and it's responded by making things lighter.
Yeah,
and a little bit smaller. I don't think age should be a limitation on our business because the gear is the least important aspect of what we do.
Right. Well, I'm not suggesting that we should. The video, obviously, I didn't agree with anyone should retire at 50.
No. That's what I'm saying. It's like
what I'm saying is that as we age, things happen in general to people. I'm taking pills now. I never used to have to take pills. Now I have to take pills.
It is what it is. No, but I don't think. I think it's one of those. And I had a meeting today with a lawyer, because I'm suing John Young and Disc Jockey News TV. I should just come clean.
Right.
So I had a meeting, but we were talking about the DJ versus lawyer industry and how I feel they're both service industry, and here are all these similarities. And now when I saw your video earlier when I commented, I kind of thought about it on the drive to the meeting, and I'm like, yeah, you adjust. But the technology has moved forward as well. Like,
right.
I have a light on the floor right here. It's an H2O light from American DJ. It's a halogen bulb. This light probably weighs 35 pounds. I could go buy a new H2O light that probably weighs 3. So I almost think that the way technology has moved forward, it's allowed us to age gracefully in the industry.
I agree.
Because 100%. we don't have to be able to lift 100-pound speakers on tripods.
It's kind of a neat time to be alive in that regard. But I don't know that a lot of people understand that.
No, I think it's very clear. And again, it's coming from the days of when you and John and maybe Buddy, not me, had to carry records and had to carry crates and had to carry 45-pound turntables and so on and so on and so on. We're not there anymore. We're a 3-pound laptop, a 4-pound controller, and you could rock 100,000 people with the right PA. So I think the industry has allowed us to age in because the talent we possess isn't strength. The talent we possess is up here, here, and down here.
No, I believe that too. I'm only asking if anybody has any adjustments that they've made, because we had to make adjustments. Now, whether it's when you're 30 or it's when you're 60, you have to make adjustments. We all do.
I'm going to be blunt. I haven't made. I've upgraded to like wireless lights versus wired, but I haven't done a lot to. I'm in my head thinking what I used to do. Yeah, no, I really haven't made a ton of adjustments. And I'm not trying to show off or be different. I'm still using a couple speakers. I'm still using a rig. I'm still carrying music. I'm still carrying bags of cables. I've tried to make it less than more, but I don't really feel the industry has put me in a position where I can't do what I did 20 years ago today. Like if you said 20 years ago, here's your rig from 20 years ago, could you manage it? 100%. It was 2 speakers, 2 poles, 2 lights, a coffin. Like I don't think we've made that many adjustments. For health, yes. But in general, no, I don't think we've made that many adjustments.
We remember to lift with our knees a little more often.
Yeah. Little stuff, you know.
And we don't have to put our wires in anvil cases, snap lids. We can put them in bags and cut some weight. And
well, things like that, John. Yeah, I agree. You know, if anything, Brian, I think it comes down to 20, 30 years ago, what vehicles, like your market, Buddy's market, not John's market as much, and definitely not mine. You guys had trailers. You could carry everything you owned and then take out what you needed. Versus my market was much more van or pickup or SUV or whatever. I mean, I did weddings for 5 years in a 1996 Sebring convertible. It didn't slow me down.
I started
them out of a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
I started my DJ company in a 1978 Cutlass 2-door.
Yeah.
Cutlass 2-door. That was it too.
Yeah.
I mean, would I want to go back to putting the top down and lifting by leaning over the back seat?
Right.
No, I admit. I bet that probably would hurt more today.
Yeah.
But, I mean, really, with technology moving forward, and most of us, except for the guy you mentioned, who I have no idea who that was, going from CD to all-in-one with a stick, showing that I actually watched an entire Brian S. Red video. First time. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations, Shlancha. You know, you look at it and say, yeah, back then I had to carry a lot more weight. So I think the opposite. I think the industry has made us more comfortable, because what if a young 20-something who can't read a crowd and doesn't know any music before 1999 is faced with, hey, buddy, take these 2 turntables and this 600 mixer in a coffin and these 2 Yamaha 215 SVs and this Precedent AB900 amp to the gig. They're done.
Well, I mean, we could debate the who's better, older or younger all day.
No. It's not even that, Brian. It's that we've had to do that.
Of course, we've got experience, and that's an advantage. But I don't know. I was thinking about some of the emotional things that I've had to deal with, too. I was getting a little older.
Before we jump off gear and go to emotions, just the one thing I'll toss in. Just the operative word that Jay said is that when he said, I used to go out, all of us were solos. We didn't have a team. It wasn't grab an end because you had a guy with you. So we kind of had to build our rigs to be manageable alone.
I had a guy with me when I first started. It was
you right?
Girl.
No, you started in.
I had a girl too. She was my mentor.
But most of the time, it was like you'd have to be able to, whatever size the case is, you got to figure out how to get it in the door. Would you by yourself for the most part and learn how to stack?
No elevators.
Not
I used
breaking
to have to
records.
walk upstairs both ways at every gig.
Through the snow with no shoes.
Through the snow, no shoes, up and then up again to get out.
The good old days. But that's just it, because we as we acquired the gear, we weren't buying stupid heavy long coffins, because it was a case of it's not going to fit in the vehicle, and it's by yourself. It's a pain to drag that up, just because some places don't have elevators, and like Chase said, it's a flight of stairs. You know, don't work against yourself. You know, buy them in the individual, manageable sized pieces. And you never really get tired of saying, I shouldn't have bought that, it's too big. Or those people that buy the fireplace booths that are all assembled. It's like, well, unless you got a truck with a ramp and some dollies, I mean, is that practical for someone that's loading in out of the back of an Explorer? You know, that adds weight. I mean, those are heavy, those are wood, you got a TV on it, and you got a reinforced shelf so you can put your stuff down.
But,
You know,
but
it doesn't
real
take
quick,
long to hit
John,
1,100 pounds. It doesn't take very long.
can we all admit one thing? The heaviest thing I carried was music. I mean, there was a point where I was carrying like 7 of the, I can't remember the company name. They were the 60 CD zip bags. I was carrying 7 of those. I mean, that was some weight.
Something like that.
What was it?
Hot Hits? Was it Hot Hits?
No. It was a company that made the bags. It was like
It was like a trapper keeper, but it had the plastic sleeve.
yeah.
It had like a sleeve, and it had
Some were actually called Case. I remember those.
no, these were like on your shoulder, John. They were like the zip open.
Oh, the big ones. Yeah, it was like 4. It was a 4 block, 4 by 4.
Oh
It fit
no,
like
this was
200.
like 60. I think it was 30 on each side. It was insanity.
Oh, okay.
And I carried those. Then I went to the carpeted case that carried like the thin, like 100. And I carried 2 of those and used to put them on the speakers in front of me.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the weight that I carried. The rest of the stuff was kind of,
And if you could dump the jewel cases first, you were already better off. You cut your weight in a third.
That took a couple years for me to learn. Yeah, no, I was.
Yeah, it took all of us some time.
Yeah, no, I was dumb about that.
There are gear options out there that are going to make this easy for you. But, some of this emotional stuff, and it could go for anybody of any age. Basically, what I was playing off of is if anybody's out there who is of a certain age and they're thinking to themselves, you know what, this is driving me nuts. So I need to get out of this because I can't handle this anymore. Maybe there are some things you need to look at a little closer, like the weight of your equipment and how long it takes you to set it up. Or alternately, if there's something that's bugging you, is there a workaround for this? One thing that I brought up in my video I just did a couple hours ago was I got to the point a couple of years ago where I didn't want to do weddings anymore. And it's definitely not because I can't do a wedding. It's because the clients were wigging me out so bad. They were freaking out about every little thing. And I have empathy for people. And I tend to take on whatever their emotion is. I'm like an emotional chameleon that way. And I had to tell myself something and convince myself of this. And once I did it, I was much better off. A client's anxiety or nerves or discomfort with their upcoming event has absolutely no bearing on my ability to perform at their event. And the analogy I gave was dentistry, where a lot of people don't like going to the dentist. So I can have a lot of anxiety about going to the dentist. I need a filling, I need extractions, which I recently had done, right? So I could be freaking out and in pain and nervous and everything else. When I get to the dentist, I can tell the dentist how freaked out I am and how much pain I'm in and how nervous I am about them doing anything. That has no bearing on the ability for the dentist to perform dental work on my mouth at all.
They're so accustomed to that, it just rolls right off them. It's just like,
Yeah.
we'll get you fixed up. Half hour, you'll forget all about the pain, and you'll be good.
So, that was the analogy that I gave, just because emotional things do pop up. It could be of anybody of any age. Buddy, what do you got? What are you doing to adjust now that you're not, 20 anymore?
I'm still 20. What are you talking about? You guys are all older than I
you're
am.
20,
You guys
but-
all need to retire. You guys all need to retire.
Yeah, you got a couple more years, yeah.
Yeah, you guys all need to retire. That's the
We're
first thing.
done. We're tired.
Oh yeah, I'm the young. I'm the young guy here. The 4 of us.
You are.
It's not much.
You are.
It's one of the things that I'm blessed enough to have my wife work with me. That helps, pulling stuff in and stuff like that. And 2 people carrying something or bringing something up heavy. It helps. It helps have a second person. But also, I also have some employees, and when we start doing some bigger, more, multiple setup weddings, and having someone younger that's, 20, 19, that age group, high school, a senior, or someone out of high school, just, in college, it helps because they have the energy. You can tell them to go to a vehicle and get something out very quickly.
Yeah, pick that up.
I think that,
Move that over there.
having a helper would not be a bad thing for a lot of DJs, even just younger DJs, because having 2 people, it's easier, and then you can send the trainee, your tech, whatever you want to call them, your associate, to go as a gopher, go back to whatever vehicle you're using. But going to your friend with a van, I applaud them. I think that's a smart thing. I was thinking when I started my business, and again, this is the second time around DJing. I remember first time around DJing and doing albums and having milk crates, which we did vinyl. You all remember that, those fun days, and not wanting to deal with that. And I remember having a conversation with Tracy and tell her, hey, I want to get a vehicle for the business that's for like any other service company. And first vehicle I had was a Chevy 2500 work van. We bought used, and it was, I got that shortly after starting a business. So I've always had a vehicle that's just for the business because of the amount of stuff you carry and backup gear and extra stuff. And I think that's, 1,100 pounds. I think that's probably on the lighter side because you start adding in the stuff I just leave on the van, like chairs, tables, extra cables, tons of spools of electric cables and XLR cables and just little things like that. You just take it for granted that you can have it there. It's a lot of weight. And again, being older, being 50, being over 50, I think that's the other thing. Being smart about what you have and what you have available is a huge, huge thing. But again, having someone else with you and then having someone else, another option to have someone else who's younger, who has that energy, who you can go send for things. I think those are two things that would help out anyone. And again, even someone in their 30s, grabbing someone who's 18 and having them have a second, or as what Kevin would say, a second banana, having someone else there, I think that would help out tremendously.
I don't think there's anybody who I've talked to locally who's a DJ in their 20s or 30s who is not using an assistant. Everybody has an assistant. I'm the weirdo who works alone.
I work alone.
I have an assistant. Yeah, I know, but these younger guys, talking about us lifting the stuff by ourselves, these younger guys that I know and gals actually have assistants. And
which is smart, because
it totally is.
Two people setting things up, you twice as fast.
Sorry. Allergies, it's not COVID.
Oh, man, but the thing is that work smarter, not harder. What about,
right.
That saying, that goes back to my father, boomer age. The boomers were right on certain things, so listen to a boomer. So, Jay, with that said, what else you going to say?
I'm going to say, just bust your ass and be a man.
That's right.
There you go. And just because you bring a lot of gear to the event doesn't mean it all has to go in the building. That's what
No.
Don't take everything with you in.
Don't bring everything in.
Don't bring stuff you're not going to use.
I didn't itemize his equipment or weigh it. I just took it at face value. But even if his equipment weighed,
I would say second control, second laptop, just because if they're going to park your vehicle 3 miles away and now it's inconvenient to get your backup gear, have it in the building. Right.
Yeah, that's always a bummer.
You got to go find your car because you don't know where valet put it.
We ran into a while ago, one of the venues we went to last year, one of the weddings. And I talked to you guys about we have stuff set up for different areas. Having one of our assistants, one of our employees with us, again, we were like, we sit there and rejudge what we're needing to do, and we're setting stuff up like, I'm going to need X, Y, Z. Hey, I need you to go over to the van and grab this off the shelf. He goes out, he's getting stuff. Tracy's still setting stuff up. I'm still setting stuff up. And having that guy going out there, our employee, grabbing it and bringing it back, it makes life so much easier. Plus, the other thing is that toss him the keys, say, hey, go park the van. It's kind of nice.
I like those.
Also,
I like it when I got somebody with me who can do that. Yeah. That's just, go park this thing. I'm going to go do this for a while.
Yeah, you've done it a few times. I know you have your family, your daughter help you do that, drop you off and stuff or take the vehicle. And that's just, especially areas like you do with some of the clubs and stuff downtown Milwaukee. Downtown Chicago, for me, that's one of the things I look at. It's like, can I get a hold of someone to drive my van? And I actually did that a while back, a long time ago, just going back 15 years at least. One of the gigs I did downtown Chicago, my younger brother has a CDL, works for the state of Chicago. I said, hey, you're off today? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you want to drive my van? So he followed me in his vehicle. His wife was with him. Actually, his girlfriend at the time. Followed me to the gig, parked the van, unloaded, went inside. He helped me get inside, got everything all set up. He went outside, grabbed the van. I'm like, I'll see you in a few hours. Tipped the van back to his house with his girlfriend, now wife, and problem solved. And then came back later, picked me up, and I drove him back home. So
It's not going to fit in the garage. It's a great plan.
No.
Right?
Well, no, that was a Chevy van. That's what I said. That's 15 years ago. That was a Chevy van. So
You just hear some great stories from some of the DJs in New York City about what the logistics are of DJing in Midtown Manhattan. And it's like a military operation. There's someone who's driving, there's someone who's watching the stuff on the sidewalk, and someone who's actually bringing the stuff in. It's like a thing.
Right. Now, you might have to go around the block if someone pulls up behind you. It's a one-lane road in Hong Kong. Oh,
I've
we'll
seen
go
it.
around.
I've seen Jeffrey Kwan, our friend from Canal,
Yeah.
and I've seen them do an unload in front of me, and it literally is a military operation.
Yeah. Everybody knows
Because there is zero parking, there is zero loading.
Right.
Well, we did a show when was I in New York? September? And we had a 23-foot truck pull up, and we had to double park and unload that thing at lightning speed onto the sidewalk on 30th off 6th. And you're looking around, and everyone there is like L.A., Florida people, and they're like, well, we'll just hang out here for a while. And I'm like, guys, we got to move.
Got to go.
Like either move it inside or it's going to get stolen. They're like, no, we can leave it here and go to lunch. I'm like, are you serious? Like, you really don't know where you are? There was a guy standing at the corner where the door to get into the venue, to get to the elevator, that was union operated, which I have no issue with, until they said at 11 o'clock he was done, and we needed him at 11:01, and that's a whole nother story that we won't do video on, but literally the guy was staying there. It's just like 9:30 in the morning, and somebody's like, oh, that guy might watch our stuff, and I look down on the ground, I go, that guy's urinating in the corner of the building. Like, no, he's not going to watch our stuff.
Guy we can throw a few bucks to. Yeah.
Like, no, that's not the guy. He has a shirt and tie and jacket on with a leather bag, and he's decided it's a bathroom break. Like, so I know there's a lot of cities, and Boston is certainly a challenge. I've done some stuff with Bill and John out there, and there's challenges. I'm very fortunate. Southern California, we don't get the money you guys get, but you pull up into parking lots and it's chill, and you're like, oh, there's the door, and let me just roll my cart in. It's very mellow.
Well, it's all relatively new compared to the stuff we're dealing with, too. So.
Well, and that's the thing. So it's, which is harder? I don't care how much my gear weighs. I care how hard the load-in is.
Yeah.
One of the things we've had this discussion, and it's worth repeating, the nicer the venue, at least in California, the worse the load-in.
Same here.
You go to the Ritz-Carlton, the W, all those places, you're on 6 elevators, going through 7 doorways, through the kitchen, the back rooms. Yeah. It's amazing.
You're exhausted before you even build anything. Yeah, you're already tired.
No, you haven't done anything. The room. Yeah, you're on the first floor. Where's the room? 10th. Wait, I've taken 2 elevators. I'm only up 1 floor? Oh, yeah, you got to go down to the kitchen, talk to the maitre d', cut through the back thing. Yeah, like, gosh, really?
Just to add on to that, Jay, Tracy and I just had a client that we were talking to, and we found what venue it was, and the logistics of it, it's just so difficult to deal with. And going up, there's no elevator, so you got to bring everything upstairs. And I'm like, even if I had 2 employees and going up and down the stairs and stuff like that, and I have a bad knee, so stairs to me are not the most fantastic thing. It's one of the things that I look at and go, man, the logistic-wise, working it out, I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. And again, being also not something at this age, and we can kind of pick and choose what works well and what's going to work well for us. And that's one of the things I think also with the age thing, these guys or girls saying that, you shouldn't DJ if you're over X age. Well, there's also a lot of wisdom with that too. If they want to take a gig like that and want to run the gambit and jump through a bunch of hoops that we know better, and we're like, hey, I don't want to deal with it. Age has wisdom sometimes.
Oh, there.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it comes down to the simple fact of, as you age, you don't want to admit anything. You don't want to say no to anything. But also, you get wise and smart enough to realize I don't want to do those gigs. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got 20-year-old something DJs that will call me for advice or, hey, what about this? What about that? And I'll look at the gigs they pick up and I'm like, really? You like literally had to parachute into the fraternity house to do that event? Yeah, that's a hard no from me.
Right.
But you know what? They're in that useful age of starting out. I don't even know that it's the age thing. It's just, to me, age equals experience. So I'd rather look at this video that you did, Brian, and say, you should quit when you're this experienced. No, I don't. I had a meeting, like I said today, I met with a lawyer about something, and we had this at the end of the discussion. I said, I understand one thing about what I do. Here's the gamut of new music, and here's the gamut of old music. Anyone 21 and up can learn the new music, but they may not know this part. And that's the benefit of me at my age. I know all of it. And that's the thing. Maybe the gear gets heavy.
No, I agree with you.
Maybe the work gets hard, but the end of the night, when you're dropping tracks that excite people from 8 to 80, that's the only outcome we all want. We just want a successful event.
Of course, and I would never argue any of that. I'm trying to look at it from someone else's point of view.
Well, I saw the same video you and John saw, and I just thought, you know what?
Whoa! I didn't see a video at all. I didn't watch a video. I only saw some comments and got some feedback. I did not watch a video.
The video I saw just simply said, hey, if you're old or Brian S. Red, you should quit. You shouldn't do this thing anymore. And I just said, wow, what's this all about?
No, I did not see that video.
Wait till that young kid, wait till he gets his first gig where he wished he looked at Google Maps from space and saw that it had an uphill gravel driveway with stone steps every 8 feet.
You've done that gig too, John? I did that about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Volume 2.
Quite excited to do that gig.
True grass. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I should have seen that.
Big wheels on the rock and roll cart. Not as responsive as you would like.
Anyway, it's just about working smarter, not harder, and to identify what's really bothering you about this. If you're looking at this and saying, wow, you know what, maybe I need to knock this off because I got some back pain or this gig is really stressing me out or whatever, really think about it, analyze it, figure out what it really is that's bothering you, and ask yourself, if this one thing that's bothering you went away, or you were able to address it in a constructive way, would you be enjoying yourself? And yeah, well, if the answer is yes, then find that workaround. Get rid of the problem, no matter how old you are, but especially if you're older. Don't be thinking you're saging out of it. No, it's not like that. We have a lot to offer, us older cats. Yeah, we don't know everything, and we're always learning, and we know that. And for that, I feel like I'm growing. I'm always growing, and I try to keep a good attitude and try to take advantage of the new technology. And yeah, I am here living in the present, yet I've been to the past, and I know what that's all about too. So, for example, I'm not surprised when anybody young freaks out when they hear Tom Tom's Club's Genius of Love. Oh my God, you mean Mariah Carey didn't do that originally? No, she didn't. No. Lotto didn't steal it from Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey took it from Tom Tom Club, and I'm sure it was all a friendly transaction too. So I know that. I don't know if a 30-something-year-old knows that. I'm not convinced. At any rate, we are here, sponsored by DJ Event Planner. They are the sponsor of this video. Thank you, DJ Event Planner, for being one of our channel sponsors. Check them out, as well as some of our other channel sponsors, in the description of this video on YouTube. We'll do a short show